E360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories, broadcasting and live streaming to millions of devices around the world, including Roku, and live streaming to Facebook Live, also on Amazon Fire TV, and to Twitch. Also, Android TV and Periscope. Broadcasting to Apple TV and YouTube Live. Proudly brought to you by our host, Donna, producer and host, Michaela Vidal, host and administrator, and Jim Grant, producer and host. Proudly brought to you by the 6minutewebinar.com.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Messages of Inspirational Stories. Jim, okay, this is going to be an amazing week.
It really is. See, she's getting so excited. She's going to just spring out of that chair, ladies and gentlemen. She's coming unglued.
No, I had a cat in my lap, and she decided to take my
mic and everything with you.
Yes, everything went.
Oh man, I tell you, those kitties. I tell you, they walk to the beat of their own drum, don't they?
They absolutely do.
I love cats. You know, Donna, last week we covered a very important topic about, it's preparing for Valentine's Day, which is today. Yeah.
So happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
Yes, happy Valentine's Day to you. And we covered things last week because we realized some people are alone and they get kind of lonely on Valentine's Day. So we called it Palentine's Day. And Monday and Tuesday, we went over the top 20 reasons why people say they are alone. And 17, if I remember correctly, start with the word I.
Yep.
And when you use the word I, you're looking at yourself on the inside. You got to be looking on the outside.
You're not looking outward.
Not at all. And Donna did a great job of bringing out some great information in Wednesday and Thursday about being a friend. And then Friday, we put the icing on the cake. We had if you guys did not see that video on Friday, that show, watch it. Trust me.
Absolutely. It was so much fun.
Oh, yeah. And when we talk about fun, Donna had a great idea about being able to set up a progressive dinner where you go from place to place to place to place and you build on it. And then we implemented a 2 truth and 1 lie game. Jim
came up with that. And boy, was that ever fun, folks.
Oh,
Jim and I know each other really well, right?
Yeah, I thought I knew her.
But we each gave 2 different 2 truths and 1 lie. And out of those groups. 2 groups. Mm-hmm. And I got 1 wrong and 1 right, and same with Jim. So, even though you know somebody really well, you may not know everything.
That's right.
And it was an amazing icebreaker.
Oh, it is, because just to give you a very quick snapshot of the value of it, if you are someone you find it hard to start a conversation. Yeah. This 2 truths, 1 lie is a great icebreaker because you'll be able to talk to a person about 1 or 2 of those truths that they reveal about themselves. We did 2 groups, and my particular group, I still got my cheat sheet here. But the first group, I said I once ate dinner at Emmett Smith's house. And the second one, I once bowled a perfect game in bowling, 300. And the third one was I was once AWOL in the Army. And out of those 3, she thought that me going AWOL in the Army was the lie, but it was the truth. And the big lie, of course, was the perfect game in bowling, because we were a drinking team, had a bowling problem. And, and of course, the second group, for example, I once campaigned and helped a political politician run for office and get elected. Okay. And the second one was I met the Gunsmoke star, James Arness, at his house. Number 3, I once raced go-karts. And she got that one there correct.
I did.
Yeah. And the lie was I raced go-karts.
Right.
I mean, I like driving go-karts, but I never raced them, well, except family, your friends out there, that's when you go, but not in the sense that it was intended. So therefore, if someone wanted to talk to me, they could say, wow, tell me about having dinner at Emmett Smith's house.
Right.
That just, you really had dinner there? Yeah. And tell the story there. Or you went AWOL in the Army,
Exactly.
And then the other two, and I'll finish up real quickly here, Donna. You actually campaigned and helped a politician run for office? Yeah, I did. And I met the Gunsmoke star, James Arness, at his house. And see, these would be great icebreakers for you to be able to, just not these, but whoever you're talking to, because it's amazing what people have done in their life that you do not know.
Right.
And it could also build a very strong friendship there, especially if you have common ground.
Mm-hmm.
And this little game here is a great way of breaking the ice. And we suggested on these progressive dinners to put all the little strips of paper in a bag, draw it 1 and 2 at each place, and everybody would guess. So, okay, I think that person said that.
Right.
And then after it was all, everybody made their selection, the real person who wrote that would raise their hand. Then they'd have to guess again which one's the lie.
Right.
And Donna, you came up with a great idea at the end. I didn't even think of that. About the winner. The person gets most right.
So maybe the top 1 or 2 winners get a little prize. Everybody, everybody kicks in or what have you. Yeah. But a little prize for who knows your group of pals the best.
And you can get very creative because there are companies that like to give away free gifts. You can write to them and get some free gifts and have them sent to your place and compliments of, and send them a picture or something. You just get it. There's no limits to the imagination. Goodness.
No, there isn't. And I thought it was funny because when we played this game yesterday, I'm trying to find my.
You mean on Friday?
Or Friday.
Yeah.
My weekends are so busy cleaning house. Oh. And Friday, my husband fixed my vacuum cleaner. Right? It was a meltdown for me Friday, guys. Everything that could be wrong went wrong.
Oh, yeah, because we were getting ready to go live and your camera would not work.
No, it was just a hot mess.
Yeah,
so, it was interesting because the one that Jim guessed right on me, my first one was I was in AAU, which is Amateur Athletics Union. And at 15, I ran a 220-yard heat against college students. I was once a model, and Irene Ford at the Ford Modeling Agency said, get that girl in print because I'm too short for runway. And the third, that I was a downhill skier. And he guessed that one right, that I was not a downhill skier. But again, we know each other extremely well as, as best friends, as family, and as business partners.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
My second one was I once drove a car at 125 miles an hour. I was a prom queen in high school, and I once took place for my banana bread at the Arizona State Fair. So he guessed that I was the
State Fair.
State Fair was the lie, and that was the truth. Not only was I never a prom queen, I was asked to prom by my first husband, and then he never took me to prom. So I never went to prom.
Oh, he probably didn't want to go and didn't want any other guy to take you is what it was.
I'm like, what the heck? That's
Oh
me.
man,
That's just me.
wow. Yeah, that's cruel. Yeah.
But it was
But
fun because we got to elaborate on the stories behind them.
oh yeah.
And that's the fun thing in this icebreaker game that y'all can do with your friends is,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, it isn't just the yes or no answer. It's the story behind it.
Oh
Because,
yeah.
you know, at the end of the day, when our life here is said and done, folks, you know, we are made up of the memories and the people along the way, the love we've given and the love we receive.
And they won't remember everything you said, but they will remember exactly how you made them feel during this
Absolutely.
life. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm glad
Lots
we
of fun.
I'm glad we came up with that, Donna. That was a lot of fun. I mean, we really the show just really flew by. If we'd have
Yeah.
had a third one, we wouldn't have had enough time.
No, we wouldn't have. It was
Yeah,
fun.
it
But you know,
was.
today, Jim, how exciting is this week?
Very exciting because there's a lot of people who are still struggling with the thing called leadership.
Right?
And one of the key things that I tell people, being a leader means, now listen to this, folks, you are responsible to someone, but you're not responsible for them.
Correct. Big difference.
Oh, yeah, because a lot of leaders, if you become responsible for them, you know, you become a babysitter. You're not a leader.
Exactly. That
You
is
become a
exactly.
micromanager too.
But you know, part one today is really about what does it mean to be a leader?
Mm.
And boy, is that, you know, a deep, deep subject.
Mm-hmm. It really is, because a true leader would never ask a subordinate to do something that they either would not do or could not do.
Or have not done.
Or have not. That's right. That's one of the prerequisites of being a real leader. And I had a guy one time, and he was trying to do a report, and he was trying to, he said, this word I want to use, it fits perfectly. And I forget what the word was. He says, I know how to spell it. He says, how do you look up a word in the dictionary if you don't know how to spell it? I said, well, I don't know how to spell it either. So that's your problem. So fix it.
That's funny.
Because if I'd have told him that, he would have, every time he needed some little something, he'd come running to me.
Exactly.
That interrupts the leader's your thinking, your process, your work schedule, everything, because it's an interruption.
It interrupts both parties.
Yeah.
And whoever you might be doing business with or what you're dealing with. And, you know, the other thing, a true leader does not have to go around and say, I'm a leader.
Oh, yeah.
I am, you know, I run that sucker.
Yeah.
A true leader won't do that because you will know.
Yeah.
You will just know.
You're exactly right. And, a true leader, when they walk in a room, they automatically, I don't use the word command, but they automatically get respect. Just their presence.
Right.
Because the people respect them.
Absolutely.
And it's important for people to respect their leaders.
Right.
And for leaders to get respect, what's the first thing that they got to show to their subordinates?
First of all, they have to give respect back, but they have
There
to.
you go.
But they also have to show that they are deserving of that respect.
Yeah. And as a leader, of course, you always praise publicly, but you do corrections privately. Very, very privately. Never get on a subordinate in front of other peers.
Well, you know, and I think that goes back to, honestly, I have seen that happen when my youngest was in grade school, Jim. And the teacher was a monster height of a man. He was like 6'8". And he ripped my youngest up one side and down the other in front of God and everybody. She was so embarrassed and so humiliated because he didn't do it in private. And I'm thinking, this is a teacher that I pay his salary?
Yeah.
No, needless to say, if you know me, you know that that went over like not.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, if somebody does that to you, my point in that is this. If somebody does that to you, and starts to talk to you about something that should be done in private, you are well within your right to say, let's take this privately.
Yeah, you certainly are. You certainly are. And you were talking about that high school or that elementary school teacher. I remember us boys, I mean, I didn't get singled out. Us boys, we all got pat in front of the class. I don't know why, because we didn't do anything. We were all good little
Jim,
fellers.
you're an
What?
angel.
Thank you very much. Especially when I'm asleep, not having bad dreams.
Well, you're an angel, but your halo's a little tarnished, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, that comes with, all that reflection from the gray hair up there, It's
But
getting the ultraviolet rays and the.
right. One of the things that Jim and I wanted to talk about is what has leadership, the change, leading through change and adversity. And I think this is an incredibly awesome time to talk about how has that impact been made through the COVID-19 pandemic in the last 2 years.
Donna, you're exactly right, because a lot of leaders, they feel like if they can't, I don't mean this physically, but see, touch, and feel the employee,
Right.
they can't, they're not in charge. And
Right.
that's part of the adjustment, because
It's
a
also
lot of,
ego.
yeah, it is. But that's a big adjustment, because making it, everybody had to adjust to the electronic world. We all did. That's what created this TV show back in 2020, whenever we started just a show on, we had Zoom and Facebook Live,
Right.
and we started putting on messages of inspiration and hope, just to be able to have something positive out there, to be able to give people a hope and future. Because think back about that pandemic, my goodness, we were told people going to be walking down the street and just dropping dead.
Right.
So the electronic change we all had to adjust to, and it's here to stay.
It is. It is. And the interesting thing about it, the people and the companies who have survived this best have taken the opportunity to merge and make the best adaptive decisions to their workspace.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And make no mistake about it. I mean, a lot of you folks will know what I mean when I say this, but getting people together on a Zoom call or something like that, not just because you're not in person, that does not squelch the energy.
No.
Not at all. Not at all. Especially when you got like-minded people with the same kind of heart and the same type of motivation and drive you do. I mean, the energy, it just flows. You feel it.
It does. It does. It's literally electrifying. And if someone is talking, and say you're doing a presentation on Zoom, a good presenter will still engage their audience.
Yes. Yes. And you know how that's done? Tell them, Donna. I don't know. No, it's always the message and never the messenger.
Right.
Because we both know a lot of speakers, and some speakers getting out on stage and, let me tell you who I am. That is who they are.
Right.
But they really don't provide any value to the people out there. The people can tell that they're not connecting with them.
Right.
And that principle is the same. It's true whether you're in person or over the camera.
Absolutely. And the first way you can tell whether you are connecting with or your audience or not is how quick people do this.
Oh,
that is a key marker. And honestly, I'm not saying this to be mean, but just, to help anybody out there, it is the message. It is not the messenger. It is how much you engage the audience and the people, who are looking up to you for leadership role.
Absolutely. And I guess we had a little bit of an advantage there because with your background in radio and my background in radio, we entertained people over the airways. They couldn't see us,
Right.
And so that gave us a little bit of an advantage because therefore we were so focused on the content of what we're going to say, deliver, whatever. And of course, we always blended in humor because people love to laugh. They really do.
Well, and that's part of who Jim and I are. If we
Yes.
can't laugh and have fun, then it's not worth our time doing it.
That's right. That's exactly right. Because laughter is good medicine for you, number one. Number two, there's enough doom and gloom going around for 3 or 4 worlds, much less just our one world. And people are anemic for good humor and good information. We call it infotainment.
Right.
That's what we do.
And one of the other things is that when you can laugh at yourself, this is important. I cannot tell you how many times on air my tongue has literally tripped up my teeth. And it happens, right? So instead of worrying about it, I would literally just say, well, folks, sorry about that. As soon as I get my tongue working again, I'm going to get the word out, right? Because, it's already said and done. And when you make fun of yourself, you know what? It puts everybody at ease.
Forgive me for laughing, but when you started talking about that, what flashed in my mind was it Thursday or Friday? You snorted and snorted.
It was Friday.
I mean, she sounded like a chainsaw over there. She was snoring so much. That's what got me tickled there, folks, because, sometimes you get to laugh. I remember one time we were on the show, we were live, and I don't remember what was said or something came up anyway. We both found it funny. She started snorting and I got the giggles, and we had a hard time signing off the show. I mean,
right. We've done that several times. We went into a show one time, laughing backstage, and the show came on. And he couldn't talk at all. He was down for the count. And I'm trying to get out, welcome to the messages of inspirational stories. And I'm laughing so hard. And, so, what? Fun is super important. And it makes people, here's the other thing. When you have fun, when you laugh at yourself, people realize, oh my gosh, they're human just like me.
Absolutely.
They make mistakes. They have fun. They see humor. And you know what? When you have that kind of energy and that much lightheartedness, I guarantee you the people you are leading will want to work in tandem with you.
Yeah, they want to be associated with you, no doubt about it, because some of the best teachers I've been around, instructors and all that, they're able to blend in humor when they're training something.
Oh, yeah.
And if you got a boring subject, you better implement some good humor there.
Better liven that sucker up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just amazing how, if you don't keep people engaged with humor, you're going to lose them.
Right.
Unless they're really tuned in and on your subject and what you're talking about, and they got a direct connection with you. But most people, they're going to drift away on you.
Right.
They really will.
They will. They will. So, one of the things is, I think through the pandemic, and I've always been more about being an empathetic person than a sympathetic person. Mm-hmm. And that understanding in the pandemic, and people who are truly, truly frightened from COVID, they need a little empathy because they're really inside. They're really feeling the stress of the pandemic.
Oh,
and when people are going through different challenges in their life, you know what? That should always be met with empathy for the person because you would want the same.
Mm-hmm. I mean, let's face it, everybody's got something that can either scare them to death or worry them to death.
Right.
There's something in this world,
For everybody that way.
Yeah, I tell the story about this one guy that I knew in Vietnam. You know, he was just brave. We get incoming rounds. He just, get up, put on his steel pot, grab his flight jacket, grab it around, grab his smokes, walk right out the hooch door, across the compound, and go over into the bunker and sit down and wait for the incoming rounds there to, quit coming in. And he was just, we're all kind of like, all we did was just get on the floor and put our flight jacket around us, our steel pot on us, and just try to pretend we were human turtles, get up under everything, right?
Right.
Or at least try. And one night we were woken up by a blood-chilling scream. And we all jump up and we're scared to death. And what happened was this guy who wasn't afraid of snakes, this guy wasn't afraid of anything, he felt something crawling on his leg. So he gets a flashlight, turns it on, pulls back the cover, shines the light down there. It's a spider. We did not know he suffered from, was it arachnophobia? Is that the fight? Yeah. I mean, this put him in, panic field big time. He has let out a blood. Can you imagine being woken up about 2 o'clock in the morning with a blood-chilling scream?
Right.
Oh my gosh, that'll rattle your birdcage. And the whole time we thought, hey, this guy's not afraid of, Satan himself. He'll walk up to the doors, the gates of hell and kick it in,
Exactly.
But everybody's got something that can really get under their skin, really bother them. So
absolutely. And the pandemic, I mean, let's be honest, Jim, it's traumatized people.
Oh,
They've endured, fear, grief, isolation, loneliness, depression. But here's something else. The pandemic, and this is a part of the empathy, it has also, because of the vastness of it, it has separated people.
Oh, yeah.
It has separated people. So it's super important to, reach those people as a leader and find out what you can do to help them.
Yeah. Let them know you care.
Yep.
Let them know you're there. They're important. Because when someone is worried or concerned, they need a friend.
Absolutely.
They really do. And remember, they will always remember how you made them feel, especially in their hour of need.
Right.
Goodness gracious. I mean, that's just majorly important.
Right. And, for those who have now transitioned, say, back from working at home to bringing people back into their office, make sure that you make it meaningful, that you make it memorable, and that you appreciate and value each person who is in the office there with you.
Absolutely. Donna, it just amazes me how, we got to challenge the old ways of thinking and the old ways of doing things because the entire paradigm has shifted. It really, truly has. In all fronts, everywhere, in business, in our personal lives, in relationships, everything. And we need to understand that things are not going to go back the way they were. They never have in the history of time.
Right.
And they never will.
Evolving.
Yes. You think back about the way things were, from my age, back how things were when in the 1960s, then the 1970s and the 1980s, things just keep evolving and changing.
Right.
And when something like the pandemic hit, that forced a major change.
Right.
But it was a major change where, a lot of the changes were in a positive way.
They were. And, and here's something else. For those people who have been so impacted by how the pandemic has changed their home structure, give them, maybe it's okay that you can give them the option of working with them if they need to be home certain days a week.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because I know I have a lot of friends who do both. They go into work, but they also work from home. And
Yes.
here's
Yes.
the thing. As a leader, you need to be forward thinking,
Mm-hmm.
right? You will get, as my mama and daddy used to say, you get more flies, catch more flies with honey than you do vinegar, Donna.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So don't be afraid to think outside of that box
Mm-hmm.
and work with people,
Yeah.
because
You know.
that may be the difference of them being 100% in on
Mm-hmm.
what you're doing
Mm-hmm.
or only 50% in.
Yeah. When I had my manufacturing business, every other Friday was payday. And even though I gave my employees a lot of latitude and longitude, I would set up the standard. This is what we need to done, this day, this day, this day, this day. They knew what the standard was.
Right.
But I gave them the flexibility. Now, this is over 25 years ago, folks. I gave them the flexibility where they could choose to come in early. If they wanted to get off early, they could come in early and leave early or leave earlier than normal. And that's extremely important, especially with people working out of their home. If they got something they want to go to at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and they got, work that needs to be done, they may choose to get up. Hey, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. So what? I can get them to, get things done and give them it really gives them a lot of flexibility. Plus, when you do that, guess what they do? They buy in to what you want them to buy in on.
Right.
The mission.
Mm-hmm.
Accomplish the mission.
Right. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And the other thing is, as a leader, it is your job to recognize everybody works differently.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Everyone works differently. So, where you may have one person who is a total neat freak and not a pen or a paper is out of place.
Mm-hmm.
And then you may have another person say, it's got Post-it notes everywhere. I'm a Post-it note person. Doesn't mean they work less efficiently.
Right.
They just
Right.
work differently. Because here's the thing. We are not the same. We are not robots. So we all work differently. Our minds process and function at a different way, at a different rate. So that's okay. And embrace it. Embrace it, because you will get more production out of people who work for you by doing that than you will by saying, well, I can't accept this.
Yeah.
If they're doing the job and doing it well, then don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. Don't worry about the process, because as I was going to finish up, I admitted this, forgot about it. When my guys would get paid every other Friday, the prerequisite was, or the option was, and they took that option every single time, was that they came in on that second Friday every month. And what I wanted was that all the work to be done. I want the facility swept, and I want all the tools in their place.
Right.
And they'd come in, on that Friday, because they're going to pick up their check. And guess what they would do? You start sweeping, I'll start putting the tools away. Because I like to have tools, even in my garage. One thing that really gnaws on me like a rat on cheese when I go want to do something and I spend 20 minutes trying to find a tool.
Right.
Because it wasn't put back right, And I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying it wasn't where I left it last time.
I'm that way in the kitchen.
That's
stuff
one of
back
my
in the wrong place.
That's one of my faults. But anyway, by 10 o'clock in the morning, guess what? My place was squared away. It was clean. Everything was accounted for. Everything was neat and nice. The guys had their paychecks and they're out the door. And guess what? I didn't keep track of, did they really work 40 hours or only 38? Who cares? If the job got done and everybody's performed your standard, who cares?
Right.
Oh, man. I remember.
Good point, Jim.
Yeah, because I've known some bosses that, they're a stickler.
Oh, Lord.
They spend more time looking at their watch
Watching people
than they do, looking at someone and helping them in their hour of need.
Or doing their own dadgum job.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I tell you, those folks are, and we got Mr. I was going to put Mr. Bill Heinrich's website up there. We taught on this. Was it 2 weeks ago? The 7 levels of truth. We covered a couple
Yeah,
of
it was
chapters in
2
this
weeks
book.
ago. Mhm.
Yeah. If you're looking how to improve your life, you may want to get this book, The 7 Levels of Truth by Bill Heinrich. I think you can see it there. That's Bill's picture on the back. He's a great friend of mine and Donna's, plus the fact he will give you a free complimentary 30-minute call and help you figure out what's blocking you. Then, if you want to put the icing on the cake, we got Donna. We sure do. And I say that, because Donna she is tremendous in helping people eliminate roadblocks. And she just comes right down the middle. Is it a person, a place, or a thing, or a combination of all three?
Right. Right. Because that's what blocks our energy.
Yeah.
It comes down to one of those or all of them.
Yeah. Because in your efforts as we go through this week, if you feel like your energy's blocked, definitely get in touch with Bill and Donna. Bill's website is truelifepurposenow.com, truelifepurposenow.com. And Donna's is, you just get in touch with her there at the email highenergyrightnow@gmail.com. Her website is donnaguinois.com. And both of them will give you a complimentary 30-minute consultation. That's 1 hour of helping you clear out the cobwebs that will enable you to be a better employee if you're working from home and a better supervisor if you're supervising people from a distance. It really will.
Right. And I have to say, Bill, he is absolutely marvelous.
Yes.
He is marvelous. And the one thing that Bill and I have in common is we are both pretty much straight shooters. You're not going to get a lot of fluff from us.
That's right. That's exactly right.
The honesty in that is just this, folks. If you go to Bill and you need help, or if you come to me and need help, you've come for a reason, and fluff won't cut it.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So, one of the things that I want to talk about real quick, Jim, is if people are coming back into their office space, and I know a lot have, and there's still some who aren't, but let's just say that you've worked out where a lot of people work remotely, or they swap out. A lot of people are doing that. This group stays at home this week, and that group comes in to the office, etc. So if you found that you are getting a smaller space to actually your brick and mortar, make sure you do not forget to have a space to gather. That is so important because, as much as we love our jobs, and I hope everybody out there does, as much as we love our jobs, that you need that space to go and have your lunch that's not in front of your desk, not looking at your computer or whatever it is that you do. You need that space.
Yeah. And another thing too, I would encourage you to do this. I never did it. I wasn't, smart enough back in those days, but I wish I'd have had some time to sit down and just have an energy session.
Right.
And an energy session, what I mean by that is let's get together for about 15 minutes and let's just talk. Let's talk about the things that's going well. Let's talk about some of the lessons that we're learning along the way. And you'd be amazed where ideas come from.
Absolutely.
Good ideas.
Amazing ideas.
Yes.
Amazing ideas. And when you do that, I love this, Jim, because when you do that, guess what? They're automatically a part of it.
Oh yeah.
Their opinion, they may be somebody who's at an entry-level position, but they are no less valued than a supervisor.
Yes.
And that is huge. That is huge, folks. That is energy.
It really is, because just think how, you would feel. Think back in your own life when you were just a new person somewhere and working, and if you had an opportunity to share some information in a meeting and boss, that's a good idea. Let's talk about that a little more.
Mhm.
And it may be modified from your original idea because let me tell you what, I was struggling with something, and I was struggling with a problem, a roadblock that I ran into in the past. I wasn't smart enough to take the detour, okay? And I was thinking about it, and Donna texted me on my phone, says, Jim, you got a minute? Okay, a minute with us means an hour, okay?
It
If she
does.
says 2 minutes, it's talking 2 hours, okay? But I picked up the phone and she shared with me an idea. And it just so happened her idea and my idea were on the same wavelength.
Mhm.
It's just that I was looking over in a dark corner and she was coming from a different angle. And I thought, wait a minute. What you're telling me will work and solve everything. And together we came up with a great game plan.
Right.
And you can't do that. I don't care how smart you are, ladies and gentlemen. You can't do that by yourself.
Right.
That's where the energy flows. And
It does. And the other thing is make sure you give the credit where it's due.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, Jim, in my younger days, I can't tell you how many times I'd have an idea or something, and it was kind of like, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden that supervisor or what have you would be like, hey, I got this great idea.
Yeah.
And this is what we're going to do. And you're looking, I'm like, are you for real? Can't give credit where credit's due because you know what? Everybody wants to feel worthy, appreciated, and valued.
Yes. 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 I remember one time I went to see this guy and I was a customer and he was sitting there and he had came into the industry. He didn't know anything about the industry. He was hired because he's supposed to be one of these glory boys.
Mm-hmm.
Dumber than a box of rocks, ladies and gentlemen. Because he was sitting there and saying, well, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And then I said, well, how are you going to handle, time, the shipping time? If you're expecting to have stuff in 2 or 3 hours or 4 hours as you want, you can't order stuff from LA and have it in Houston 3 or 4 hours.
Right.
He went, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I told him, can I make a suggestion? He says, sure. So I made a recommendation to him. A month later, I'm in there in the corporate office. We're in the executive, not the dining room, the conference room. And he's sitting there, and all of a sudden he comes up and he's, well, this is what I come up with, blah, blah, blah. And he's sharing the idea. I told him about it. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at him and I'm thinking to myself, do you know who you're talking to?
Jackrabbit. Well, and that's the thing, because I think it's happened to all of us. And it does not feel good. And let me tell you, as a true leader, guess what? You're going to give the credit where credit is due.
That's
and when
right.
you do that, you have earned their respect and their loyalty.
And you walk tall.
And you can't buy that.
That's right. And you walk tall too. You really do.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're honest with yourself.
Right.
That is huge. Some of the most miserable people I've ever known in my life were not honest with themselves. And that is a prerequisite to being happy.
It is.
It really is.
It is a prerequisite. It absolutely is, So, being a leader, oh my gosh, that's huge, but that is a responsibility that you don't want to take lightly.
Amen.
Right? You do not want to take that lightly. And I know from personal experience when throughout my life, and Jim, I know the same is true with you, when you have taken the time, you see an employee who maybe smiles a lot all the time, always happy. And then there comes a period of time they don't say much and hardly any smiles, very little laughter.
Yeah.
And well, shoot, something's going on. And, just asking if there's maybe not what the problem is, because maybe they don't want to share, But if you ask, is there anything I can do for you?
Yeah.
I noticed a little bit of shift here lately that looks like something's bothering you. And I want you to know that my door is always open. My
Amen.
phone is always on. And I am here if you need to talk or if there is anything I can do to help you.
Yeah. If you want to say something, get it off your chest, and I'm here for you.
Right. And it's
Yeah.
private and it won't go any
Yes.
further.
Yes. That's critical. That's extremely critical.
Yep.
And that means you don't even tell if you're a supervisor, you do not tell another supervisor that.
Right. Right.
Because, it's just, if you're told anything in confidence, it's one of those deals where you make up your mind, okay, that's something I'm going to carry to my grave.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Because if they know they can confide in you and trust you, they'll be more open to share things to get it off their chest. And when you do that, it actually, what you do is that you're able to open up and get something off your chest, plus the fact you're going to start feeling better about yourself as far as the individual is suffering.
Right.
And if they know that you're a trusted source that they can go to and they can share information with and it won't go any further, that's valuable to them.
Right. And how much more loyal will they be?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That you let out one secret that they told you or something confidential and your name is mud.
You're can destroyed. Kiss it goodbye.
Yeah. You're destroyed.
Right.
You're about as bad as yesterday's garbage.
Right. Good way to put it, Jim.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry. Go ahead. Please.
No, you go ahead.
No, you go.
I want to drink on the job. You go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking that, we're not out of the woods yet with the pandemic. And the reality is, folks, is that the way of life that we had pre-pandemic and whereas more things have shifted to virtual Zoom meetings, there's less even in speaker world. Less people are traveling, right? Jim and I know this firsthand. Less people are traveling to go to events because you can do it on Zoom, or you can have hundreds of people on there.
Look at it from the corporate level, the upper echelon. They're saying, hey, we don't have to worry about airplane tickets. We don't have to worry about motel rooms and or hotel rooms, all the expense we go to. We can do this on a Zoom type call. They have a conference call and we can take care of business.
Right.
And we don't have to have all this extra expense. That's one of the things that the pandemic says, hey, there's an alternative in meeting here. And Zoom just really came alive.
It did. And I would, if you're in the position, I'm just going to throw out a little suggestion. If that is the kind of business that you're in, well, you would already have had that in the budget,
right?
So instead of, unless you absolutely have to, putting it somewhere else, maybe you could throw a little bit of that budget into the people's pocket.
Oh, yeah. Make it fun.
Right?
Yeah, play a little game there. Okay, make it pertinent to what you're doing, but play a little game. And, somebody gives a correct answer. Okay, that's a $10 thing right there,
Right. It's whatever it is, a $20. People like to be engaged. They like to play games. And guess what? Everybody likes to win.
Yeah, I'll tell you something. When it comes to the ladies, I've told this joke one time on stage, and it was to wake some people up. And I think Donna already knows where I'm going to go with this, but I had to wake the people up. They were all sitting there and they're looking at the phones because the last speaker, he was dry as a mortician. I mean, he was dry as bones in the desert. And I walked up and I says, I want to share a little riddle with you. Now, let me warn you, a riddle, and this is a riddle, it is not what your mind tells you what it is, okay? And so I started out and I said, what's about 6 inches long, has a head on it. Women love it. No one can ever have enough of it. I started getting some strange looks. And I pulled out a $100 bill and I said, I'm talking about money. And then, a lot of them started cracking up, laughing at me and all that, but I had to break the ice and get them back. But my point
Right.
being, everybody loves money. And if someone comes up with a good idea during a meeting, that idea I think is worth $100. Can you imagine a supervisor saying that? What do you think the other attendees are going to do?
They're going to start paying attention.
Yeah. And think about all that attention you got, how much, energy you got for $100.
Right.
That's being smart.
And that's one of the things for me as a leader that is critical. And Jim is the same way, is, you know what? We're not afraid to give credit. We're not afraid to share in the spoils, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
We are not afraid to do that. And that is an intricate part of who we are.
Let me say this. When we first started this little show, Zoom and Facebook Live, I talked about back in March of 2020, everybody was, pitching in, well, I can do this and I can do that. And Don McGrath says, Jim. I said, yeah, you're going to be the host. Okay. All right. So I'm the host and all these people coming in, revolving door. We're doing this show 5 days a week. And plus I was doing my radio show. We got invited to join E360 TV in September, I think it was. And we came on board in November of 2020. Yeah. But my point being, if I was just a host and I was the reason why we were going to be here on E360 TV, it would have never happened. I needed all those good people there to make the show successful.
Right.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. Just that simple. And I'm just being upfront with you.
Yeah.
And then Donna joined me to keep a tight rein on me and keep me out of trouble,
Yeah, and, so you can make me snort.
Yeah, it's a full-time job for her. Sometimes in the summertime, I look at her, she'd be wiping sweat.
Okay, well, let's be honest. I do live in Phoenix, so it gets a little toasty here in the summertime.
Yeah. But the point that I wanted to make there was that, the success of anything belongs to everybody.
Yes.
Not one person or two people.
Thank you.
It really does.
Thank you. And, even within messages of inspirational stories, you know what? We're growing and we're expanding.
I know it.
Right? We just hired my daughter.
Yeah.
Aya, and she's working with us now.
Oh, yeah.
Do you notice what I said? She's working with us.
Not for us, but with
us.
Not
for us. Because
I think I work for everybody else. We don't know the truth.
But that's important because that takes your ego out of it, and then you become a team. And that is one of the biggest things as a leader. Whoever need to leave behind is our egos.
That's exactly right. And I tell people, or I've said before, I should say, it's okay to have a swagger.
Right.
But don't let it be your ego. I mean, be excited about, what you're doing. Be excited about being a part of the team. Have some swagger there and let that swagger rub off on everybody else.
Right.
Because everybody needs a little swagger in their life.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, Jim, you're going to be mad at me.
What?
Because we're about out of time.
Holy enchiladas. We are out of time. Why do these shows go so fast?
I don't know. But
are you
tomorrow,
keeping it? Do you have a cheap watch like a Timex or something real cheap?
No, I have a Fossil.
A Fossil?
Yeah, dug it out of the ground.
Oh, that's why it's been. Yeah, it don't know anything about Okay,
right, but tomorrow we're going to talk about when is change positive or negative.
Ooh. that's a good one.
Yeah. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. So, folks, please tune in. And Jim and I would like to thank each and every one of you who tune into us and watch us on whatever platform it is that, you're viewing us from, because we know your time is valuable and we want you to know how much we appreciate each and every one of you.
Absolutely. And be sure and reach out to someone that you hadn't reached out to in the last couple, 3 years and just say, hello, thinking of you. Hope you're doing well, and let them know that you care, because we all need to be loved, and we all, and be able to do that. You got to love yourself first.
Right.
And I love what Donna says, give yourself grace to forgive yourself. And in my case, that takes a lot of grace. And a lot of love too. But I mean, you got to be able to do that and let go.
Right.
Anything that bothers you, let it go. Just let it go, because it's not all it's going to do is rob you of your health, your happiness, your love, your energy, and everything. It's going to rob you from being you.
It will.
That's the main thing. Well, Donna, I've enjoyed today. I really have.
I have too, Jim. I have too. I'm excited about tomorrow's show.
I am too. And I'm glad we were able to share the 2 truths and 1 lie. So be sure and look back on our Friday show. Oh, my goodness gracious. You can catch us on YouTube. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah. I tell you, it was real fun. Yeah, I had Donna snorting on there, and it was we had a good snorting of time there.
We did.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in. We love you, appreciate you. Be sure and love yourself and forgive yourself, and then you can love others. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.